Hello! In today's video we are going to look at the 5 stages of the autoimmune thyroid condition called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Now, if you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I believe it's quite important to understand which stage you are in, because there's a lot that you can do depending on the stage that you are in. The reason why this is so important is because Hashimoto's is considered to be a progressive disease. So this is something that will actually worsen over time. And by knowing the stages, you can proactively take action so that you don't get to the next stage. So with that in mind, let's get started on stage number 1. Now, this is the stage where they call it genetic predisposition. You have no symptoms, you do not have hypothyroidism, but you have the genes in your body that makes you predisposed to get this disease. It means that should certain things happen in your life, should there be certain triggers, like environmental factors, food that you eat, toxins, stress, then it could actually trigger the gene to actually then develop this autoimmune disease. But you don't have it yet. So stage 1 is actually where you have the genes, but you don't have the disease. There is no indication that you have anything. So this is where you look at your family history. Does your mom have it? Does your dad have it? Do your siblings have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism? Because then you know that you are at risk of developing this disease because you actually may have the genes to get this. You might want to do a genetic test where they can look for the markers. Or secondly, when you actually have this information from your family and there is a genetic predisposition for you to develop this disease, you can now take action to make sure that you actually don't progress to the next stage. And this is where you need to look at your lifestyle, your stress, your toxins, eat a healthy diet, make sure you stay as healthy as possible. Stage 2 is called immune cell infiltration. It really just means that your immune system has been activated and there are now thyroid antibodies in your thyroid gland. And these thyroid antibodies can cause inflammation. At this stage, you may start to experience some hypothyroid symptoms, but it's generally not severe. You might have some mild fatigue, or a little bit of weight gain. Generally, doctors won't test for hypothyroidism at this stage because your symptoms are not severe enough. It's likely that you will probably not get diagnosed at this stage, even though you may have thyroid antibodies in your thyroid gland already. Moving on to stage 3, and this is subclinical hypothyroidism. So you have immune cells antibodies in your thyroid gland and you are actually experiencing hypothyroid symptoms. You are actually experiencing fatigue, disruptive sleep, a little bit of brain fog, some more unexplained weight gain, and things are something's wrong. And it's typically at this stage where a lot of people go to their doctors and their doctors do a couple of tests and they'll see that TSH is elevated. So TSH is the hormone between the pituitary gland and the thyroid gland, telling the thyroid gland to make more thyroid hormones, and they'll see it's elevated. Now, it might be slightly elevated or it might be highly elevated, but your thyroid hormones may just still be enough that the doctor just goes, well, there's still enough thyroid hormones in your body. It makes no sense to put you on thyroid hormone medication, even though your TSH is elevated. Now, the typical advice at this stage is, well, come back in 6 months and we'll see if the condition has worsened. Unfortunately, that's the standard approach or the allopathic approach, and that's the way many doctors have been taught. You're just not sick enough to put on thyroid medication at this stage. And typically at this stage, most doctors will not test for thyroid antibodies. So you may actually have Hashimoto's, but you don't know about it. And this is why it is so important, and myself and other health coaches and thyroid patients we advocate that insist on getting those tests done so that you know if you have Hashimoto's, so that you don't progress to the next stage. And stage 4 is called overt hypothyroidism. Now this is you have hypothyroidism. Your thyroid has been diagnosed as underactive, which means that your TSH is probably high enough for a doctor to go, okay, something is really wrong here. And then your T4 and your T3 levels, those are your actual thyroid hormones, are low and too low. So there's not enough in your body. And this is typically the stage where most patients get diagnosed. I believe when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism in 2003, and I'll share a little bit more about my story with my diagnosis in another video, which I will link down below. You're already quite developed far in the stages of hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. So I typically also was not tested for thyroid antibodies. I don't think it was really something that was done at that point in time. And it's in this stage where you will get placed on lifelong thyroid medication. If you have been diagnosed with overt hypothyroidism, that you actually get tested for your thyroid antibodies. Because if your antibodies have been destroying your thyroid gland physically cannot make more hormones because it's been attacked and destroyed by your immune system. And therefore, unfortunately, you will have to be on a thyroid hormone medication. And the last stage is called stage 5, end stage Hashimoto's. And this is where you actually have full-blown Hashimoto's disease, the autoimmune disease, where your immune system is attacking and destroying your thyroid gland. Your thyroid antibodies will probably be high if you haven't done the work to reduce those thyroid antibodies, and you will definitely have damage and scarring on your thyroid gland. I remember when I went for a sonar on my thyroid gland when I was diagnosed, the specialist physician did tell me that yes, there are nodules and nodes on my thyroid gland and there's scarring tissue, which means that my immune system have been attacking and destroying my thyroid gland probably for years by the time I was finally diagnosed. Now, depending on how far you are in stage 5, if your thyroid gland has been totally destroyed by your immune system, that means you actually don't have thyroid cells left that's active and working, then you actually may see a reduction in your thyroid antibodies because there simply isn't any thyroid tissue that your immune system can destroy anymore. So it may be that you'll see a decline in your thyroid antibodies. Now keep in mind, if you are at this stage, it is absolutely vital that you take thyroid hormone medication. I almost want to say it's rather thyroid hormone replacement, because you are giving your body the thyroid hormones that your thyroid gland simply cannot make anymore. So don't see it as a bad thing. See those hormone pills as vital for your health. If you are at stage 4 and stage 5, you may actually also develop other autoimmune conditions. So remember, there's a lot we don't know about autoimmunity. There's a lot of theories, and doctors are doing a lot of research, but there's a lot we still don't know about autoimmunity. So what happens, how it triggers, how it develops. The problem is that once you have Hashimoto's, you are at risk to develop other autoimmune diseases. Now, there's a list of about over 80 autoimmune conditions, and once you have Hashimoto's, this really to me is like a red flag to show that, hey, your immune system is not in a good space. Please take action and do the things that you have to do to calm your immune system, to reduce those antibodies, to prevent the development of other autoimmune conditions. That's the 5 stages of Hashimoto's. If you found this information valuable and you liked what I shared with you today and would like to know more about hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's and receive future tips, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Click that notification bell so that you know when I drop my next video. So that's it for today. Take care and we'll chat soon. Bye.